I sold every piece in my collection for this one watch, and I fucking love it. Three years ago, I sold every watch in my collection for one watch. The Explorer 36mm from 2009. It was my only watch for a year, till I got greedy. I got engaged in this watch, I got married in this watch. It's been my constant companion, and if you were going to tell me I had to sell everything for one, this is the one I would keep. I love it. It fits me, it's my watch. There are a lot of reasons for that. So my specific reference is the 114270, and it's from 2009. I bought it naked, so no box, no papers, from Watchbox in November of 2019. It was right after I had just started getting into watches, and throughout that entire year I had spent my time buying watch after watch after watch. I think I bought a grand total of 14 watches throughout that time period. And the whole time I kept seeing videos about the Rolex Explorer in 36mm, and I would watch it and I would love the look of it, and I kept thinking, I can't possibly buy that. It's too much money for a watch. And so I wore other watches. So I bought a Junkers, I bought a Hamilton, I bought another Hamilton, I bought a Seiko, I bought an SKX, I bought another Seiko, I bought a Omega Speedmaster reduced, and I loved them. From April until the end of October, I had ended up with 6 watches. A G-Shock that I knew I wasn't gonna get rid of, a Tudor Prince Oyster Date, a Zen 104, a Glycine Airman, one of the DC4 references, a Hamilton Khaki King, and an Omega Speedmaster Reduced. I had 6 watches in my collection, and I loved them. They were great for specific pieces, and then I realized that if I added them up and I sold them all, I could buy one watch. And so I did. What actually ended up happening was I reached out to Watchbox and said, I'm interested in this piece, and I offered them at the time $5,000. That's what it was a little under what they had listed it for. And they called me. And they said, I can't do $5,000, I can do $5,100. And I played hardball because in my heart, I thought, I can't buy it. I can't possibly purchase this, but I had said $5,000. I'm a man of my word, so I said $5,000, final answer. At 3 p.m., he called me. He said, I can do $5,000. Do you take credit card? Yes. I drove all the way home and paid with a credit card as soon as I got home. And when I was there, I was looking at the watches that I had in my box, and I thought, I guess I'm gonna have to sell every single one of these. Now, there was a time delay between my getting the watch and my selling all the other ones, but either way, I sold them all. And all I had at the end of that was this Rolex Explorer 114270. And the feeling that I had opening that box is something I can't describe. I filmed one-handed me opening the box from Watchbox. And it was really jerky and hard to tell what was going on, but I still look at that video, and the magic of seeing those numerals is something that I still remember. It's something that will always be part of this watch. Take that and then add my engagement to it. When I first started dating my girlfriend, who became now my wife, I was wearing the Rolex, this watch, the entire time. As soon as she and I started dating, I was wearing this watch. The day we got engaged, I was wearing this watch. And the day we got married, I was wearing this watch. This has been with us through every step. So not only is it important to me as my first Rolex or my first luxury watch or the first watch that meant everything to me, but when I was looking at watches, I promised myself I would wear that watch, if only I could get it, on my wedding day. And so I did. And so this watch is irreplaceable. So if you look at the close-ups of this watch, you'll see there are scratches all over it. I've built small things with it. I've moved parts around my warehouse wearing it. I've done everything in this watch. For a year, it was the only thing that was on my wrist, and I got used to it. And what I love about this watch is how it fades away. Something about Rolex of this time period was their marriage of strength and something that is light and smooth and not noticeable, especially in this size. When I don't wear a watch, it feels like something isn't there. And when I wear a watch that's really heavy, I notice that it's there. This is the perfect combination. This is that just enough to where it doesn't feel like my wrist is naked, but it isn't noticeable. I don't feel like it's there. And so when I'm driving and I look down at it and I see the reflection across the face and into the numerals, it makes me realize and remember that I'm wearing it. This watch makes me think of the watches that I got rid of. It makes me think of what I had imagined this watch and what I would be like wearing this watch when I got it. This watch makes me remember walking through a grocery store and pulling things off the shelf, and the entire time hardly paying attention to the groceries I was buying and more focused on what I was wearing. It's not the way you're supposed to be, but it's how I felt. So when I'm watching Talking Watches and I see these collectors talk about these pieces and how they're important to them, it makes me think now about this. So the Rolex Explorer is special. One of the things that people complain about on the old Rolex Explorers to the new ones is the new ones have an anti-reflective coating on it, so you can see the numerals better. But the thing is, the reflection on this crystal is part of what I love, especially when the light hits it right. The whole crystal gets covered in a glare, but I can see the numerals because they're shining just a little bit more. And so I can still see the time without any issue. It has a certain richness to it, an elegance that I do not have. I am not an elegant man. I don't have things that are really fancy or really elegant, but this watch, to me, especially when that reflection comes across the dial, is elegance. Some people don't like the clasp, the folded clasp on here that just latches and unlatches and it flips open, and some people don't really like that very much, and I can understand that. Some people like the more modern bracelets, but for me, that's part of it. The hollow links and the folded pressed clasp has just enough vintage, because I'm not a vintage guy, I'm a modern guy. I like those sorts of things, but this has just enough that I can enjoy it. And I still have modern clasps. I still have ones that I like, but this one just has a certain charm. And I had an adjustable clasp. I tried it on here and I wore it for a little while, and then I switched back to this. And I don't really know how else to explain it other than that this is the right clasp for this watch. It's just me. So if I had to do it all over again, or if I had to sell my entire collection, I would. I have had more fun with this watch than I probably had with all of my other watches combined. This has been that special piece for me. And everyone has a different special piece. And please feel free to share your story and what is special to you. To me, it's this Explorer. If you're interested in getting an Explorer, I know that prices right now for something like this are outrageous, but they're wonderful. I mean, they're a beautiful piece, and they'll last you obviously the rest of your life. Drop a like if you like things like this, or if you want me to talk more about my personal experiences or just watches in general, please let me know. I'm just getting started. Please do me a favor and subscribe. Next week, we're gonna compare my Tudor Pelagos to a Black Bay 58 navy blue. And on Monday, we'll do some more watch news and conversations about watches. So, till then, take care.